The Black Swan Theory by Nassim Taleb. An in-depth exploration. The Black Swan Theory is not just a philosophical concept about rare events. It is a fundamental challenge to how we perceive the world, make forecasts, and assess risks. Developed by Nassim Taleb, this theory reveals a deep, often ignored asymmetry in the structure of our reality, where extreme, improbable events have a disproportionate impact on the course of history, economics, and our personal lives. What is a black swan? The three criteria. A black swan is a metaphor based on the old belief that all swans were white. This conviction seemed unshakable until a Dutch expedition in 1697 discovered black swans in Australia. A single observation overturned an entire theory. According to Taleb, a black swan event is characterized by three key attributes. Rarity, surprise. The event is an outlier, as it lies outside the realm of regular expectations. It is so improbable based on our current state of knowledge and historical data that we aren't even aware of its potential. Before it occurs, it does not exist in our models, forecasts, and risk scenarios. Extreme impact. When the event does occur, its consequences are colossal. It radically changes the game, rewrites history, crashes markets, destroys empires, or creates new ones. Its effect is revolutionary, not evolutionary. Retrospective predictability, explainability after the fact. After a black swan has occurred, the human mind works backwards. We find causes, logical chains, and obvious signals that we feel should have led us to predict the event. We create a narrative that makes chaos seem orderly and understandable, fostering the illusion that it was foreseeable. This tendency is known as the narrative fallacy or hindsight bias. Classic examples of black swans. The 2008 global financial crisis. Before it happened, the dominant paradigm assumed markets were efficient and risks were diversified. A collapse was unthinkable. Its impact was global. And afterwards, everyone saw the housing bubble and the risky credit derivatives. The fall of the USA, the major geopolitical catastrophe of the 20th century, which almost no one predicted a year before it began. The rise of the Internet, a technology that radically altered communication, the economy, and social structures. Its global impact was underestimated at its inception. The COVID-19 pandemic. While epidemiologists had long spoken of pandemic risks, its specific timing, scale, and global consequences, lockdowns, supply chain disruptions, became a classic black swan for the global economy and society. Why are we blind to black swans? The traps of our thinking. Taleb blames our blindness on several cognitive biases and structural problems. Platonicity, the narrative fallacy. We try to squeeze a complex, chaotic world into neat, simplified models, maps, and theories. We confuse the map, our model, with the territory reality. These models are based on past experience and cannot contain what has never happened. We believe in stories that logically explain the world and ignore the silent data that doesn't fit. The turkey problem. This is a key metaphor for Taleb. A turkey is fed for 1,000 days in a row. Based on this experience, it is confident that humans are its benevolent patrons. Each day confirms this hypothesis. But on the 1,001st day, the day before Thanksgiving, a black swan occurs that radically refutes all its knowledge. Experience is meaningless if you don't understand the fragility of your system. Confirmation bias. We seek out information that confirms our beliefs and ignore that which contradicts them. We look at white swans and reinforce the idea that black ones don't exist. Playing Russian roulette with invisible bullets. Success in a risky system that hasn't yet failed is deceptive. The person who wins at Russian roulette appears skilled and lucky, but in reality, they just haven't encountered their black swan. Financial traders making profits Foyers on fragile strategies are such lucky turkeys. Antifragility. How to survive and thrive in a world of black swans. The most important practical implication of the theory is not to try to predict black swans, which is by definition impossible, but to build a life and business strategy that is resilient to them and can even benefit from them. Taleb introduces the crucial concept of antifragility. Antifragility is the opposite property of fragility. The fragile breaks under chaos and stress, e.g., a wine glass. The robust withstands the shock, e.g., a stone. But the antifragile actually gets better from volatility, chaos, and stress. Examples of antifragility. The immune system becomes stronger after encountering a virus. Muscles grow and strengthen in response to the stress of exercise. Innovative startups. Many of them fail, which is a form of stress for the system. But those that survive become stronger and define new markets. How to build an antifragile business or career. The barbell strategy: convexity from asymmetric bets. This is the core strategy. You need to create portfolios and strategies where the potential upside from uncertainty is unlimited, while the potential downside is limited and small. Business example. Instead of making one large bet on an unproven idea, launch many small pilots or side projects. The vast majority will fail with minimal losses, limited downside. But one of them could become your positive black swan, a breakthrough product that brings exponential profit, unlimited upside. Investment example. Instead of trying to predict the market, use a barbell strategy. Keep 85 to 90% of your capital in super safe assets, government bonds, cash, and 10 to 15% in highly risky, venture-style investments that, if successful, could yield returns of hundreds or thousands %. Avoid over-optimization and maximization. Over-optimized systems, e.g., just-in-time, global supply chains are very efficient in stable conditions, but catastrophically fragile in the face of chaos. A bit of redundancy, inefficiency, and slack cash reserves, spare capacity. Time for experimentation makes a system anti-fragile. Use aggressive pragmatism via optionality. You don't need to be constantly active, trying to guess the next trend. Create an anti-fragile structure and wait passively for a black swan to bring you an opportunity. Let other fragile players make mistakes and go bankrupt trying to predict the future. Your strength lies in resilience and readiness to catch a positive black swan. Conclusion: Nassim Taleb's Black Swan theory is not about fatalism and fear of the unknown. It is a call for intellectual humility. It teaches us to accept the fundamental uncertainty of the world as a given, and to stop deceiving ourselves with beautiful but false narratives. Instead of trying to make precise forecasts, the wise strategy is to acknowledge our blindness to rare events and consciously design our lives, careers, and businesses to be robust against negative black swans, and open to the opportunities presented by positive ones. In a world where the only constant is uncertainty, anti-fragility becomes the ultimate competitive advantage.